What was experienced was the 2004 outbreak of Terra Grigia, where the Aquapolis city was attacked by the terrorist group known as Veltro that unleashed the T-Abyss virus. The outbreak was the FBC and BSAA tried to contain it, but when that became not a valuable option, they opted to go with the solar battery instead of a nuke, simply because it allowed them to basically purge the city and all genetic material in it and allowed for the most clean and safe destruction that they could, but the city would forever be lost. After this event, the FBC would be investigated for internal corruption that would eventually lead to the disforming of the FBC, and the BSAA would become the biggest bioterrorism force of NATO. And now we get to the next stop in our timeline. Ray.
Yes.
The year is 2005. You are 10.
Yep.
You're back home in Hawaii. Just go ahead and describe to us like your house, some of your family relationship.
Yeah, sure. I'm just going to ready up my doc here just in case. So Ray lives in one of those homes that are like near the beach. It's like a beach house, you can say, set up. It's a moderately middle. It's like a middle class house, mostly made of wood. It's got sort of everything. A couple of rooms. It's a pretty large house because it contains 6 family members: mother and father, 2 sisters, and me and my brother. And yeah, it's very much sort of covered all in blue. A lot of like nautical-esque themes going around. From like surfboards to some fishing accolades here and there. A lot of stuff, but it's not just like Hawaiian. There's also a little bit of like Japanese. It seems a little bit of Japanese architecture stuff going around. That's his house.
Yeah. Alright, it's like a normal, like, midsummer day at your family's house. Your father's out basically lifeguarding, and pretty much, like, it's just pretty run-of-the-mill day as far as what you've been used to. Your mother, Hana, has the day off, and she's basically making a bit of a big giant smorgasbord brunch, if you will.
Yeah, Ray will be helping
you
out.
can smell a whole lot of savory smells coming from the kitchen.
Okay. Alright. So he's coming down the kitchen. Hey Mom, that smells very good. Is that the brunch?
Hey honey, yeah, I decided to make us a nice brunch. Everyone's gonna have an omelet, and then I also decided to make us some prime rib with a side of steamed vegetables.
Delicious, very healthy.
Always gotta keep it balanced.
Yes, Mom. When will Dad be back?
He's gonna be out today. If you want, you can see if your friend Julie's available and go play with her at the beach after you're done eating here. Though, make sure you don't get in the water too quick. I don't want you getting cramps.
Yeah, I know. I'll be fine. I'll take care of myself well. What about Dyke and my sisters? Will they be okay?
Yeah, we'll be just fine. Girls have been begging me to do some school shopping with them because, the summer's draining pretty thin.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Alright, I guess I can have some fun with Julie. Alright. So he'll prepare himself to eat the brunch.
Yeah. You eat the brunch. It's a pretty good meal. No real complaints. Like, if you were gonna leave a Yelp review, it would be like about like a 9 out of 10 meal.
It's a good brunch.
Yeah, pretty much after you leave, I'd say that you're able to basically make your way to the beach, and this is like 2005, so it would have been like realistic for you to be able to just call Julie and have her meet you at the beach.
Yeah. Yeah, I just give her a call, have her meet the beach, so we're, I'm sporting my it's like a teal blue trunks.
So as you come to the beach, you see your father on the lifeguard stand, and he's basically just watching everyone like he's supposed to. Kind of got a bit of sunscreen on. And you see everyone playing, then you also see a little bit further out in the water that there's some people doing like short sprint racing in the water, essentially like marathon swimming.
Yeah. I think he's just gonna watch everything, wait for Julie. As he's putting on his own sunscreen on, make sure he doesn't get sunburned.
Yeah. You put your sunscreen on, and everything remains peaceful. Would you have said anything to your father while you're waiting for Julie?
I just wave at him. Like, I just wave at him. Just like,
okay, he would have given you a wave back then. He knows, like, he taught you how to swim, like, pretty well, so he's not horribly scared. So long as you don't go past the roped off area. Don't go past the fucking roped off area.
Don't go off the rope area, kid. Don't.
Cut your losses, it's just a hat.
So, pretty much, as you watch everything, it's about like maybe 30 minutes. Julie shows up and she's got a little bit of evening dress on over her bikini, essentially.
Yeah, I've already set up, so you know you're late.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. My dad works here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. I live literally 10 minutes from the beach and I live half an hour.
True. I'm just saying. Time. You
And
know,
she kind of gives you like a punch on the shoulder. So you get any practicing?
Do you think I need practice?
Well, you're saying you want to join the swim team next year. You gotta be real good if you're gonna do it.
Yeah, I will. I'll make it. Hey, look, it's not that hard. I was taught well enough. Even though with all the other things I'm doing, so yeah. I'm finding
So
time.
why haven't you already gotten in the water yet?
I was waiting for you, maybe.
You sure? Because right now it's sounding like you're a real big chicken there, Mr. Cahill.
Oh, really? Me, a chicken?
Yeah.
Alright, how about this then? We race it down, we do a swim race. From here to there. Whoever gets the rope is the winner.
Oh, you're on.
Well then.
So I guess we'll do contested swimming rolls here.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
You can keep your plus.
Alright.
Roll me a 1d40. Well, no, a 1d100. Don't do less than 40.
89.
89. Okay. Okay, you're good. So, you start racing and you've got the lead, but man, years of swimming with Julie, she's about just as fast as you, if not faster than you, and she basically beats you by a thin hair. And she just holds the rope floating. Sure you're good enough?
You got lucky. You had the early sprint. I had to wait out here.
Man, cheer up, Ray. You almost had me.
Almost. Yeah, almost. He's gonna sort of let go of the rope and he's gonna like lie there looking up under the water, just resting. That was exhilarating. I'm just worried, that's all. Summer's almost over. Gotta watch out for my bro and sis.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you got it. You know they look up to you.
He's gonna... Yeah, they do. I know, I'm their big brother. I have to make sure they're all okay. Don't really want to get, any problems there.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Julie was a little bit older than you, right?
Oh no, she's same age as me.
Same age. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got lucky. At least your siblings look up to you. Mine's just kind of a jerk all the time.
Yeah, sorry. I guess if you grow up to be good, you grow up to be good, maybe?
All I know is that if Lisa messes up with my clothes one more time, I'm gonna be so fucking mad. Mom bought them for me, not you. It's that simple.
Yeah, sometimes I have to break up my two sisters for fighting over clothes. That's a problem.
Really? They seem pretty content just with what they got.
Yeah, but you know, the occasional small fight of like, oh, what? I got this. No, you had this, and I have to break up the feud. It all ends well, thankfully.
Yeah, I mean, besides, it could be worse. Like that one thing they showed us in class.
Oh.
When we came back, what was it? That Terra Grigia thing, man. That was. I would have hated to have been there.
Yeah, I heard the story. Yeah, that was rough. That was rough there. I feel bad for the people there.
What Miss Sally? What? Oh God, Miss Elena said, like what? That the whole city got destroyed. That's terrible.
Yeah, something like that. It's rough. That sucks, to be honest. I mean, imagine if Hawaii got wiped out. I mean, it would be hard, but still, damn.
I mean, thankfully nothing's happened here since we read about Raccoon in history class.
Oh, Raccoon. I'm thankful. I'm thankful my parents were involved with that crap.
Yeah.
It seems like if it's a big company, you know, imagine working for them and everything is rough.
Yeah, I imagine that would be rough if your parents worked for a company like that.
Yeah. Well, thankful we don't have those, right?
Yeah. Alright, we'll skip forward about another like 2-3 hours. I'd say it's fair to say you and Julie would have made a whole day of being at the beach, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a normal thing for the two of you.
Yeah, it's very normal. Like, we love the beach, we love the ocean, you know, the waters, so yeah.
You notice that Julie's kept you out here a bit longer than usual, and there's no, like, most everyone else has gone away.
Mm-hmm. Shouldn't we get moving maybe at some point?
Yeah, it's just, I got an idea.
What's this idea? You know when you do ideas, some things don't go well.
And some things go great.
Yeah, but... Okay, what's the idea?
Alright, well, you want to be head of the swim team after you join next year,
Yeah.
which we'll see if you even make it.
I hope.
But everyone knows that the initiation into the swim team, they always come out here and swim out to that pointed rock. And you know your dad would never let us do it. He was out here on guard. You do that, you're already ahead of the game.
Yeah, but it's over the rope. You know how it is. When you go over rope, you know, bad things happen.
Yeah, and I mean, what's stopping bad things from happening within the rope? You remember that shark attack 3 years ago? That person got messed up in the rope. Okay, that was awful.
That's the problem, is because there's sharks out there, things from the ocean. That's why the rope exists.
You're still getting in the ocean.
Yeah, but he just sighs. Okay, all right. We'll swim to the rock, but then we go back quickly. Okay?
You're right. Maybe we shouldn't go to the rock. What if we just swim a little bit past the roped area? That seems safer.
Fine. We'll swim maybe a couple of meters and then we jump back out. Sorry. Yeah. Alright?
Alright.
And he'll cross over the rope, he'll help her out if he needs it.
Yeah. The two of you swim out.
Mm-hmm.
You keep playing outside the rope a little bit, but without really like noticing it, the currents kind of like picked up a little bit. And we'll say like 20 minutes go out, and you notice that you guys are a little bit further out than what you'd expected.
So I imagine he's resting. He's like looking up at the skies, like just relaxing a bit. He's gonna rise up. Hey, I think we should get going. I think we're straight too far now. Julie, shall we?
She kind of like leans back up, facing you in the water because she was floating before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're way far out.
Dang.
Yeah, let's get back to the dock. That'd be quicker to get to than the roped area.
Yeah, come on.
So the two of you start swimming. Give me one last swim check.
16.
16?
Yes.
Okay, so you're swimming and Julie's keeping up behind you. I'd say like the difference between the two of you is that Julie's always been a little bit faster, but you've had better endurance when swimming.
Yeah.
Pretty much, she's keeping up with you. Then you see that she starts slowing up a little bit, and the waves start to pick up a little bit more as high tide starts to roll in onto the beach.
He'll turn around to her. Hey, need help?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just wait up. And then she'll start swimming towards you. And then as she gets closer to you, you kind of see her stop.
Julie?
Ray?
What? Julie?
I'm stuck.
What?
I think my foot's stuck.
On what? He's gonna go below the water to see.
You see that there's like an old fishing net that's like drifted up to the top that her foot's like caught in.
He'll rise up. Looks like he got stuck in a fishing net. I'll see if I can help. He'll go down, try to get her foot out.
Yeah, just roll me a strength roll.
9.
9, okay. So, you get Julie out, but you notice, like, as Julie gets out and you see her float back up fully to the surface and she starts swimming, as you go further up to the water, you basically see that it's so dark to where basically as the waves come up, it starts kicking dust and your vision gets obscured.
Julie, you're there?
You're underwater, so you're kind of going.
Okay. Yeah. I rise. I go up.
As you pop up to the water, you pretty much see Julie almost back to the dock. Then as she's within 10 feet, you basically see like a wave basically come and cascade over her and knock her down. And you swim to the dock pretty quickly, like faster than you ever have before. As you grab the dock, because you weren't too horribly far behind her, like maybe like 20-ish feet, you notice Julie didn't come back up.
Julie? Julie? He goes underwater to try and see if he can see her.
Roll me an awareness with a -6.
Okay, question, does combat sense come into this?
Yes, but only let it give you half the boost it normally would.
12.
Okay. You are able to go under the water and you look around and you basically survey as best as you can as like the dirt's getting kicked up and like some of the trash that's underwater next to the dock flies past you. And as you're about to get a grip, the current drags you, and without even having to make a roll, I'd say you'd have time to grab the dock pole, and you take further survey. You still can't see much of anything.
He's gonna climb out of the docks. He's gonna start yelling, Julie! Julie! Julie!
You hear nothing except for the wind starting to howl.
He starts running. He's gonna try to find his father.
It's past closing time for the beach, so pretty much like your father's still not on guard. As you look around, you realize that there's an emergency phone near the guardhouse station, and you go to that and you dial, and within mere moments you're able to start getting people out there and they start looking for Julie.
Yeah.
The search team comes back and they pretty much just hand you Julie's bracelet that they found near the dock, and he just kind of leans towards you and says, we're gonna call her. And your dad's come back out, and he's kind of holding you tight.
Oh. There's nothing. He holds the bracelets tight, and tears start flowing down as he sobs a bit.
And your father just kind of lets you have that moment.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And yeah, he continues. And that bracelet, he's gonna ask the family if he can keep it.
The family opts to hold on to the bracelet for obvious reasons,
Yeah.
but they do let you have a picture of her and you together.
Yeah.
And we'll close that scene there. As things would advance, the BSA would become a much bigger organization throughout the mid-2000s, up until investigating a couple off-calls. And so far, it seemed that everything was being handled very well. Though, given that the two other organizations formed to help deal with bioterrorism had been investigated for internal corruption, had been shut down because of that, being the FBC and certain NATOistic factions, the BSAA had to grow much in wealth to where it was willing to take private funding from a company called Tricell in the mid-2000s. Current year is 2006. Okay, so I'd say you're in 3rd grade. You're in, like, arts and crafts class, essentially. And the kids are sitting at different tables being assigned, like, different work. And considering that this isn't a main class, it's not separated desks, there's, like, quadrants of desks as groups are picked. And pretty much, you get assigned to a group of, like, 4 other kids that are all, like, naturally a bit bigger. And you're going to be working on essentially, like, a giant deco art collage of, like, different, like, newspaper clippings and stuff to make, like, a fun wallpaper. Because, you know, this is the age you'd be doing that in art class. You get assigned, and the other 3 are waiting for you at the table.
Daniel doesn't realize that this class is frivolous yet because he is so young, so he is approaching this with the same enthusiasm that he would later approach things like math.
You sit down, and pretty much you notice that other kids really aren't letting you help out much.
Is there anything that I could do to assist? Do you need more glue?
The bigger one kind of looks at you and he goes, yeah, how about you go find a new group?
I would if I could, but this is where the teacher assigned me. Did I say something wrong?
Oh no, Danny Wanny, did he did?
I did.
How's
know
the
what
phrase go? Daniel Wandel, up in the flannel, ashes, ashes, they all stayed down.
I don't even know what that means.
Whatever. Just give us some more glue.
Okay. Daniel is now sad, but he is going to trudge over to the cabinet and get some glue and bring it back. He doesn't want to get in trouble, and if this is the only way to get a good grade, then he will get a good grade, by God.
You very awkwardly... You get, like, a couple looks in class, but you very awkwardly get through the period, and the project itself looks decent enough to where you feel like you'll at least get, like, an A- on it. You pretty much just kind of trudge the way the rest of your way through the day. And you notice, like, you tell me what Daniel's, like, general mindset in school is, being this young.
I think at this point it's less about he wants to have a good future or get a good degree and more about he wants to make his parents proud. So he kind of has his chest puffed out a little bit more than maybe he would in the future as he walks around, but he still has the stammer and he's still tiny. Even compared to the other students this age, he is tiny.
So you keep going through your day, then you eventually get to gym. No one really pays much attention to you in the locker room getting changed. And as you come out, pretty much the gym teacher's there. Okay, children, we're going to play dodgeball today. We're going to have Eddie and Kenny pick teams. Everyone stand on the wall. And
Maybe to stand on the wall.
you're too adorable, Adam. I'm so sorry.
This was not a good day for Daniel.
All right, so pretty much you stand on the wall and they start picking teams. And you've noticed over the last year this has become a bit of a recurring habit, and that you've really lost like a lot of people that you hung out with like in the grade prior, the year before. And you've noticed that was a very definite shift as you're standing on the wall and you're seeing everyone else get picked for the teams before you. And you notice that as it goes down, very sadly, but unfortunately so, you are the last one picked to Kenny's team.
I will try my best to dodge the ball.
All right, so pretty much this is your friend Nigel. He's also German, bit of darker, more like dirty blonde hair. It's not really like blonde nor brown, like that weird in the middle, and he's got like pretty much like hazel eyes, and he's a little bit more like darker skinned than you. That's like olive skinned almost.
To be fair, Snow White is darker skinned than Daniel.
Fair. And he'll kind of just turn you. You ready, Daniel?
Honestly, not really. But I will try my best.
Do you have plan, Daniel?
Try not to get hit by ball.
Okay. Just at least throw a ball back this time.
I can only promise to try.
Okay. And then he just kind of gives you like a bit of a sympathy pat, like, here we go again. Roll me two. No, go ahead and roll me 4 reflexes so we can get through this relatively quick. And we'll go with an average.
Reflexes, is that at penalty or
Just flat.
oh?
Average is about 12.
Not bad. That's actually pretty solid. Good job. So, we're gonna say this takes place over a median of like 5 games, because you know that's what they got time for in the period. And the first 3 games, you do pretty good. The second game, you even go a little bit outside your comfort zone, and you get 1 out. Meaning you knock
I
one
imagine
person out.
At that, I imagine Daniel's just glowing. He's so much more proud of himself than he should be.
Yeah. Then the final game, it gets down to you being in the last like 6 people there, and it's you, Nigel, and it's you, Nigel, and 1 other person, and 3 other people on the team. Then you see 1 ball kind of fly past you and take out the other guy. Then you basically just see Nigel turn to you and then yell, "Look out, Daniel!" As you see a dodgeball just kind of like hit him. He yells, "Look out, Daniel," as you like turn and you see another dodgeball kind of like hit him in the head. Then as you turn around, you see the other 2 people who pick up 2 balls that were left on the side of their court. Then they both like pick them up and just chuck them both at you. And then you dodge your way out the first one. Then you pick up a ball that as you're about to throw it, you see another one kind of just like nick you in the back of the leg. And then you notice where the game would have stopped. The other 2 just kind of keep picking up balls and they keep chucking them at you as you're standing there. And then I'd say the last ball kind of like takes you by surprise and hits you in the side of the head and knocks you over.
Ow.
And they kind of gather around you, and then they kind of pick up the dodgeballs, and then they're just throwing them up and down on you, feeling like they need to give a victory lap almost. And pretty much as you're lying there on the ground, you can kind of hear them chanting, Daniel Waniel, hiding the Lyle, parents named the Mark Isle. And then they kind of stop, and it's like, we know your parents worked for fucking Umbrella. And yes, this is out of character for a little kid to say that, but you know how little kids are. If they find like a curse word to them, it's like the infinitely like coolest thing ever.
Daniel, I don't think is the type at this point to respond. I think he just remains fetal on the floor.
After a little bit of that, the teacher basically stops them and pulls them away from you.
I don't know what I did.
And Nigel kind of like runs over to you, and he's like, Daniel, are you okay?
My head is ringing, and I taste copper. But yes, I will live. I don't know what I did.
That was odd. That's the worst they've ever been.
They said something about my parents. I didn't quite hear it because of the ringing in my head.
And he'll like help you up.
Thank you, Nigel. You're a good friend.
And we'll close that scene there.
Yeah.
Things progress mostly quietly for the next year or so. And then we come to middle of the school year in 2007. Ray.
Yes. 12.
You give me a little brief synopsis of what Julie's disappearance would have done to you over the last, 2 years.
So, what changed into Ray was he became a very overprotective person to others. So all his schoolmates, his siblings, hell, even his parents sometimes, he became like someone who's like warning them of danger just in case. You know, being the overprotective brother, the kid in school is just there to defend everyone he can. That's sort of the change because of ever since Julie sort of disappeared. It's like he just felt that her disappearance sort of struck a big chord on him. And he's like, I can't let someone else disappear or something bad happen to them. So that's the big change in those 2 years. Was he sort of everyone it took him a while before he reconnected with some of his friends, but eventually everyone sort of saw him as a instead of his lighthearted guy, became more protective.
Would it be fair to say Ray's gained a little bit of a phobia with swimming since?
A little bit, but not a lot, because he'd have to be. He's still interested in swimming. It's just he's more afraid of going into the deep ocean.
Okay, so he's not afraid of swimming in pools. It's like open water, essentially.
Yeah.
You're at home after school, and your room's kind of dimly lit, and you've pretty much kind of started work on your homework, but took a little bit of a break, and you've noticed that you've kind of just let the time go by for an hour or two.
He looks at his clock. Oh damn. Maybe need some fresh air. He's gonna stand up and he'll leave his room. He's gonna go out to the front porch, pretty much.
Yeah. As you sit on your wood porch that's basically around back, and you look at the beach, you can kind of see the bit of water area where Julia disappeared about 2 years ago. As you're sitting there, you kind of focus in on it, then you hear a little bit of a
He looks toward the sound. Yeah,
"Hey, kiddo," and you recognize this as your father, Robar.
Dad. Hey.
You, mind if I take a seat next to you?
Sure. That's okay, that Pa. Yeah.
He'll just kind of sit down in the chair beside you, and there's like a little bit of like a coffee table between the two of you, like one of those
Yeah.
outside tables.
Yeah.
And you notice your father kind of just pulls out like a Marlboro cigarette and then lights it and just takes a good old puff on it.
You know smoking is bad for your health, Dad. Also for us, to be honest.
I know. It's just this one. How you doing?
Okay, I guess. Eh, somewhat. Trying to get some fresh air. It couldn't work. Uh, just not in the zone.
We just, passed the 2 year not too long ago. How you doing?
I could have done something. Could have said no. Could have helped. And I couldn't do anything.
Raymond? I want you to listen to me.
Yes, Pa.
Julie was a nice, beautiful girl and deserved better than she got. But you can't let this hold you down.
But what happens to the same people? What if I can't watch over my bro and sis, my classmates?
He'll just kind of like pound his hand on the table. Ray, getting yourself stuck up over shoulda, coulda, woulda won't help you. I've been there. Your mother's been there. We all have. When you find yourself in those moments, you do what you can. The important thing is you don't stop standing.
I just want to make sure nothing bad happens again.
I know, I'm just saying, don't let yourself get bent out of shape every time things don't work out that way.
How do you cope then? I mean,
let me tell you something. When I was about your age, me and my brother used to go hiking all the time. Getting to see the volcanoes out in the distance was entertainment for us. Then he'll take another drag. But one day he talked me into going out without her parents. Your grandmother and grandfather.
he nods.
He was bigger than me. I wanted to look like I was doing good. So I went, and when we were up on that hill, he had a bit of an accident.
What happened?
We were climbing up a cliff face, and he lost grip and fell about 30 feet and broke his leg.
She's speechless.
It took so long to get help out to him, and the whole time I was thinking, I should have never said yes to this. This is all my fault, but I had to accept that I wasn't the only individual there. And that he made his own choices, and even if I agreed with him, it wasn't right of me to take full responsibility for everything. I didn't shy away from any punch or criticism that would have came from that, because that's how you be a man, son. But you can't let anything break you down.
He looks at the beach. Can't even swim. In there, at least.
You'll come around, and we'll be here when you do.
He's going to go into his pocket, pulls out the photo of him and Julie. I just hope my siblings don't become me.
Everyone becomes part of their siblings. Know of how hot-headed your brother's been lately. I don't think we gotta be scared of that.
Too hot-headed sometimes, Pa. Too hot-headed.
He'll figure it out.
Sometimes I feel like I have to be there just to make sure he doesn't make a mistake, Pa.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. You, take a moment to yourself, then you go finish your homework. And you know the captain tryouts for the swim team tomorrow?
Yeah?
Go to them, keep a clear head, but I think Julie will be watching you.
He looks up. I hope so, Pa. And he'll leave to go back to do his homework, and when he finishes it up, he's just gonna hit the bed. And
If
just
your mom
sleep.
wants me to do laundry, I'm not home right now.
Okay, whatever you say, Pa. As he heads to his bedroom, finishes his homework, and hits the bed, hoping the nightmare doesn't come back.
Cool. Next scene. The BSAA would grow in funding a new bioterrorism counterforce, more focused on the humanitarian recovery aspect of it, would come into fruition, known as TerraSave. They would start growing in numbers, with one of their primary founding members being Claire Redfield. Now we go to 2009. Alex. It's been about 5 years since the whole Terra thing. Everything in your life's kind of returned to a normal outside of, the reminder in the mirror. And, you've started to recently get into coding and computer stuff because it's something that your sister followed. Then, pretty much, it's just a peaceful day out in the California sun on your back porch. And pretty much you've gotten home from school about 20 minutes ago. And you're kind of just waiting for dinner to be done. Is there anything in particular you do, or are you just gonna reflect?
Mm, I'll probably, be typing in my Google document about what happened in 5 years ago. I can remember things clearly without forgetting. I'll probably reflect of what I could have done.
I'd say you're out there for a little while and you finish like a brief entry on your journal. You'll eventually hear from the kitchen, Alexander, it's time for dinner.
By then, he'll probably try to delay going to dinner, but eventually he gets there.
You'll sit down at the table. It's the four of you, and it's a pretty decent meal. Like your mother cooked chorizo sandwiches, which is an actual Portuguese dish. Had it before. It's delish. And pretty much there's like a couple other appetizers, and everything is like pretty good. Then you notice things are a little quiet at the table, and then pretty much you see your sister give you a little bit of a look, and then your parents give you a look too, and then your mother goes, "So, Sarah, can you tell your brother the good news?" Yeah, I can. Uh, hey, Alex,
Yeah.
I kind of got some really good news.
Okay.
You know how I've really been trying to gain that coding scholarship at the school?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there was this other online competition where you could submit your practice code and be compared to a whole bunch of other people internationally, and I figured, what the heck, there's nothing wrong with doing that. And I was in the top 30.
That's good.
Yeah, it's great. It's just that landed me a bit of a prize package.
Oh.
My my stuff was so good that I got invited to go to Marahawa.
Uh, the Academy for Gifted People, right?
Yeah.
You could visibly see, not visibly, maybe he'll try to hide it from his parents. But I bet Sarah could already tell that he already felt awkward.
She kind of shudders in, then your father kind of sees it, and then he basically just stops eating. Then he goes, Alexander, I work 15-hour shifts on the regular. You could at least be a bit more grateful towards your sister. She worked really hard for this.
I am grateful. Um, um, that it's great news that she's going.
Okay. I've lost my appetite. Son, just go finish up your homework and make sure you do real good on that test. Your mom will come check on you in a bit.
Yes, sir.
And you better practice your rosary at night.
Yes, sir.
You hear a little bit of arguing from your mother and your father and Sarah as you're sitting upstairs. And then pretty much after you finished your homework, Sarah kind of comes into your room. Hey, Alex.
Hi, Sarah.
So, I'm sorry about Dad.
I mean, it's nothing new.
You know he means well, right?
Yeah.
It's just he's only used to dealing with stuff his way, and I don't think he gets that.
It's okay. I kinda already knew.
I'm sorry.
Sorry for what?
That I'm gonna be going to Marahawa.
It's not anything to be sorry about. It's a good thing.
Well, you don't really seem that happy about it.
I mean, you'll be gone. That's the downside of it. I won't be able to play games with you anymore.
Yeah, we can play games. Xbox Live is a thing. We can email back and forth. I'm not dying, Alex. It's just, this is too good of an opportunity for me to not take.
I'm not saying you shouldn't take it. It's just I don't want to make you worry.
Okay.
After all, that's you really need to do well in school to stay in school.
I'll tell you what, Alex. It'll be like I'm not gone. I'll message you as much as I can, and we'll stay in contact. Because while I'm over there, you're still my brother.
Well, if you say it like that, then you can't break your promise.
I didn't plan to, but you'll hold me to it.
Maybe one day I'll find my talent and get to school with you.
Yeah. And she'll give you a little bit of a hug.
He'll probably lightly hug her. Alex doesn't. If Sarah was paying attention, she would have noticed that Alex isn't collected as he appears to be.
She'll notice it, but she doesn't really respond to it, and you get the feeling it's more out of she doesn't really know what to do more than not being feeling or caring. And she'll eventually leave you be. About 2 months later, she takes a ride to Marahawa, and for the first year or so, you pretty much keep pretty good contact. She comes home for that summer, then she goes back, and you keep good contact. Then when she advances to the more advanced stages of Marahawa, where it's all-year boarding school, she doesn't come home after that summer. And you notice that contact just kind of slowly bleeds out as it goes 1 year, 2 years. And you notice messages you leave after a certain point aren't even being read. And that's where we'll end that scene. As we come back to our timeline, as TerraSave forms, TerraSave keeps existence for about 3-ish years, with their biggest contribution being the cleanup of the Kaijuju African outbreak that takes place in 2009. While this outbreak goes on, some deadly bioterrorists were taken down, with the most prominent one being found among the body count being Albert Wesker. Though the other unfortunate side effect of this is that while I was able to unearth some new information and some key players went down, the benefactor and funder of the BSAA was basically ousted for being the backbone funding of this terrorist group. So the BSAA would basically be stripped from any private outside funding and becomes a pure international government entity. And TerraSave comes in and cleans up and helps out the civilians that aren't taken out by the virus outbreak. and the Ouroboros virus is known to a small number of the international public now. As things heat up, we come into the year 2012, where TerraSave closes its doors very mysteriously with no real explanation. Then, as we progress into the year, we go to Daniel.
All right, here we go.
It's pretty much like this happens in tandem with about the shutdown time of TerraSave. The year's 2011, and you're basically in your car with your mother and your sister. You're driving on the Autobahn, and pretty much like it's a pretty peaceful day. Then roll me a spot check. 13. Decent. Nothing's really out of place. It's basically like early morning. We'll sell on that time. You're on the Autobahn. It's like 8, 9 o'clock, and the Autobahn's known for not having a speed limit. And pretty much as you're going across the bridge, you notice one car about 2 lanes ahead of you basically pops a tire and starts swerving.
Mama, look out!
Pretty much she goes, Daniel, what do you see?
The road!
She sees it and slams the brake as that car kind of spits off to the side of the bridge, then grinds. But the other car behind it really doesn't really react that well, and basically hits the tail end of that, and basically another one piles up behind it, and as your car spitters to a stop, another car that gets turned around basically hits the front end of your car and knocks it to the side. And as the car basically flips over, you can basically see it sitting on the side of the bridge, kind of like dangling between the 2 bridge pylons. It hasn't flipped over yet, but it's on the edge at this current moment.
Okay. So I imagine that this is that at this point Daniel basically cannot hear, that it's just ringing. Was he in the back seat with his sister, or was he in the passenger seat?
You are in the back seat.
All right. You said the car is teetering on the edge of the bridge like it's going to fall over.
It's teetering like that. Like you're on your side, but it's a little bit further, so it's like...
Are there any more cars coming that Daniel can see?
Without unbuckling yourself, you wouldn't be able to see. Because right now you're kind of like sideways in the vehicle, strapped in.
What about the other passengers? Can Daniel get any kind of idea about their condition?
Your mother seems to still be coherent, but is like looking around, and you can see her basically trying to fiddle the door handle, but it looks like it's crunched in a little bit. Your sister's got a high-pitched scream right now.
So Daniel's going to try and, because his sister's making a lot of noise, he's not 100% sure if she's okay. So he's going to try and give her a closer examination, not necessarily a physical one, but with his eyes.
I guess just roll me a medicine check at that point, like first aid.
Half skill.
Yeah. All right. Your sister seems to be bleeding like a little bit from her forehead. And pretty much like she's starting to calm down, and you can realize that she's got a bit of like jitters right now from the sheer shock of impact. As you gain that awareness, you basically hear another psh on the back end of the car as the pileup continues, assuming that this whole turn took place in about 20 seconds. As that one hits, the car kind of like rolls, hits the other bridge in the gap, then kind of slides down the middle and drops about 25-ish feet. Roll me a reflex. Okay. The car hits the ground with an audible thud, and basically when it hits, it rolls over about 2-3 times before rolling into the pylon. After it hits the pylon, your seatbelt basically breaks and you fall out the side where the window broke, but you only get one minor scratch, no real loss of health. As you look down, though, your arm kind of went straight into the pylon.
Ah!
And your left arm is now broken in about 7 different places.
Come on, Shock. Come on, Shock. Sika! Daniel's going to immediately try and run over to the car and make sure his mother and sister are still okay.
Your mother's still in the vehicle. The hood of it seems like the roof seems to be crunched in the back where you were about 5 seconds ago. When you look over, she's fine, just not conscious this second. Then you see your sister hung upside down, bleeding from her artery right there from where a piece of shrapnel hit.
Okay, so Daniel is going to try his best to work fast to remove her from the vehicle without increasing the damage to the neck.
I would say
That was a
use
good
your
roll.
last med tech because it's going to be very careful to pull her out just by her thudding out of her seatbelt.
All right, so we're going to try and remove her from the vehicle, and I'm assuming we were on a bridge over a road.
It was like a bridge over like a grassland field.
Ah, okay.
It's like the bridgeway was the 2 roads. The car fell between the bridges and like rolled into the pylon. And
Okay.
thankfully you weren't that far in, so it was only 30 feet instead of like 50 to 100 like most bridges get to.
Also, it wasn't over water, which would
No.
have been really bad.
Yeah, that would have been even worse. So what do you get for that roll?
For if we're using my last med tech, that was a 20.
20? Okay, so you're basically able to kind of lean in. You're able to undo the seatbelt, and then she falls in onto your lap. You're able to drag her outside the vehicle, and you notice that the piece of shrapnel falls out and blood just kind of trickling. You being astute in the medical study that you are, because you're a genius, you're able to basically see that the tendon artery can basically be staved for the time being, so long as you keep it pinched shut.
You see, if one of you was watching this, you'd see a totally different side of Daniel. His eyes almost glaze over. He is ready. He is in mission mode. He takes off his shirt. He uses that to slow the bleeding, and he returns to the car both to check on his mother and to retrieve the emergency medical kit from under the passenger seat.
Okay. Your mother's like still like coming back to conscious, but you believe she'll be able to get herself out the vehicle. You grab the first aid kit and you know that you're going to have to keep pressure on that artery if you don't want your sister to bleed out within the next like 3 minutes.
Is there a needle and thread in the emergency kit?
It would be, but for this kind of wound, if you're not constantly having it pinched shut with like your full force, it's deadly. Like anyone who's told you about a main artery cut, that's like the only chance you get. There are a pair of pliers in the med kit, and you can gauze up most of her wound around it, but pressure will need to be held at that pinch point like that. So you could attempt the needle, it's a bit more risky.
Sika! Daniel's going to immediately try and run over to the car and make sure his mother and sister are still okay.
Your mother's still in the vehicle. The hood of it seems like the roof seems to be crunched in the back where you were about 5 seconds ago. When you look over, she's fine, just not conscious this second. Then you see your sister hung upside down, bleeding from her artery right there from where a piece of shrapnel hit.
Okay, so Daniel is going to try his best to work fast to remove her from the vehicle without increasing the damage to the neck.
I would say
That was a
use
good
your
roll.
last med tech because it's going to be very careful to pull her out just by her thudding out of her seatbelt.
All right, so we're going to try and remove her from the vehicle, and I'm assuming we were on a bridge over a road.
It was like a bridge over like a grassland field.
Ah, okay.
It's like the bridgeway was the two roads. The car fell between the bridges and like rolled into the pylon. And
Okay.
thankfully you weren't that far in, so it was only 30 feet instead of like 50 to 100 like most bridges get to.
Also, it wasn't over water, which would have
No.
been really bad.
Yeah, that would have been even worse. So what do you get for that roll?
For if we're using my last med tech, that was a 20.
20? Okay, so you're basically able to kind of lean in. You're able to undo the seatbelt, and then she falls in onto your lap. You're able to drag her outside the vehicle, and you notice that the piece of shrapnel falls out and blood just kind of trickling. You being astute in the medical study that you are, because you're a genius, you're able to basically see that the tendon artery can basically be staved for the time being, so long as you keep it pinched shut.
You see, if one of you was watching this, you'd see a totally different side of Daniel. His eyes almost glaze over. He is ready. He is in mission mode. He takes off his shirt. He uses that to slow the bleeding, and he returns to the car both to check on his mother and to retrieve the emergency medical kit from under the passenger seat.
Okay. Your mother's like still like coming back to conscious, but you believe she'll be able to get herself out the vehicle. You grab the first aid kit, and you know that you're going to have to keep pressure on that artery if you don't want your sister to bleed out within the next, like, 3 minutes.
Is there a needle and thread in the emergency kit?
It would be, but for this kind of wound, if you're not constantly having it pinched shut with, like, your full force, it's deadly. Like, anyone who's told you about a main artery cut, that's, like, the only chance you get. There are a pair of pliers in the med kit, and you can gauze up most of her wound around it, but pressure will need to be held at that pinch point like that. So you could attempt the needle, it's a bit more risky.
So he's going to attempt to apply some light stitching to the interior of the injury to slow the bleeding, just enough to give her a better chance.
Okay. You're able to hold the bleeding down, and pretty much she slowly starts coming to. Your mother gets out the vehicle, and you can see her calling like the German equivalent of 911.
If it's the same as the British 911, then it's just 999.
And your sister, as she's calling calling 911, basically comes back to enough, and then she goes, Daniel.
Shh. Stay calm. For God's sake, please stay calm. Everything is going to be okay. I promise.
She's pretty pale in the face, then she looks towards you. Am I going to die, Daniel?
Nobody is going to die today. Well, down here. Up there, I cannot be for sure. But down here, you will live, I will live, our mother is going to be okay. Stay calm. Totally different side of Daniel. She's probably never seen this before either.
She goes to retort, and pretty much she's just so out of it to where you have the same kind of banter back and forth, and she eventually just like goes, okay. About 30 minutes pass by, but the paramedics get on scene at the appropriate time and basically do what they can and get your sister to the hospital. She will live. And when you get home, you can see on the news about the exploits of you saving your sister.
Oh, Scheiße.
Young German kid hero, read all about it.
For Christ's sake. As if there isn't something better to talk about on the news.
And we'll cut that scene there.